My goodness, how long have we been waiting to see Starswell personally in this series? Because he has just been mentioned in the series several times. It was really finally interesting to see him as a character in the series. Even to see the six legendary opponents from the shows was something that the writers managed to well with. Even though we finally know more about Starsfold, how he disappeared tracefully with the rest of the heroes over 1,000 years ago. But also, we only now have the confirmed information about two particular elements in this series. To finally know the origins of the Tree of Harmony and the elements of harmony, is something they was not prepared for. But at the same time, gave light to how they came to be. I think the writers really made a good explaining the origin of the Tree of Harmony and the elements of harmony. But at the same time, we were told about the Pony of Shadows was real, since they had only been mentioned once earlier in Castle Mania. But to see Twilight so excited to solve a mystery of Starsworld and the other pillars was not expected, since everything related to Starsworld was kind of something we should know that Twilight would be excited, especially when it would be unrelated, unfinished spell, like when she got her wings, or maybe some other related artifacts with some text or diary from Starworld. Who knows? But see Starsworld was so frustrated at Twilight and did not want to listen to her suggestions to relate the Pony of Shadows with a new spell, but after Mage Meadowbrook made him to realize it. After losing Ponehenge, kind of Stonehenge in question, was destroyed by the Pony of Shadows when they were trying to find him to send him back to Limbo. But now they had to find another way. But Starlight was a bit doubt about bringing back Starsworld and other pillars was a good idea, and using the same magic spell as Starsworld did. But Twilight assured her that it was worth the risk. But she was so wrong about it. But after Twilight had brought back the pillars again, but then she realized that she had brought not only them, but also back Pony of Shadows was not she meant to. That Twilight was crushed that her idol did not trust her with something that she was not prepared for. But to see Starsworld finally trusted Twilight and helped her friends to complete the new spell she was waiting for. One can recognize Twilight's despair when she did everything to save her idol and the other pillars to the end, that Starsworld did not trust her, and see him slowly start trusting her was something someone should recognize. But seeing the main six comes well with their predecessors, their, well, earlier elements, was of course not expected since they all share the same kind of similarity to elements and personality. Especially with Rainbow Dash and Flash Magnus. If only Starsworld had listened to Twilight earlier, they could have stopped Pony Shadows much earlier. But to see the pillars were getting excited to see how far Equestria had come over 1,000 years since they were gone, and their face expressions was worth it. And even when to see the Twilight's friends were traveling across the entire Equestria to find these artifacts related to those pillars to find a way to bring them back for Limbo. That was something, well, kind of interesting. Even to see, well, Applejack in the old village where she found one of the artifacts. And even when Pinky was in this Sphinx pyramid in southern Questia to find this another part of from the artifacts to bring him to pillars back. With help from Daring Do, that was something I did not expect to see. But since Daring Do is actually happy that she helped, since Pinky and Rainbow Dash helped her to bring her confidence, so I would not probably not should be sure that I would not expect that at least she would help them, but she did. And to see how Twilight's friends stood up for her when Starswell didn't want to use Twilight's half-finished magic spell. That was something to prove their loyalty to her, and even to realize then that Starswell realized that Twilight really wanted help, but he wouldn't at first he would listen to her. When he actually read the spell, he thought it might work. So with help from her and Sunburst, they would finally manage to complete the spell and use the elements of harmony with all the magic to banish this Pond of Shadows to Limbo forever. But during the battle against the Pond of Shadows, we were told the reason that Stygian became angry that he would only want to be respected by his friends, want to help them fight, because he was the one who gave the strategy to meet the creature. And what creature he meant? Well, it was actually the Sirens. But even seeing the Sirens from Rainbow Rocks was something unexpected. But it really brings something more extra part of the story, especially when from a side part from Rainbow Rocks to at least give us some part of the story how they tried to conquer Equestria over 20 years ago with their magic and how they were banished. But I think the creators and the staff and the writers really made it really good job with this explanation and give us some more information about the Dazzlings and how they tried to conquer Equestria and how they were banished with help. At first in the movie we thought Starswell were the only one who was going to make it. And in the comic series, when we found out a little more about Starswell's history in this Antiquity Equestria, we thought that Starswell was the only one who made they disappear from their world to another dimension. But we were not prepared to see that the old 6 Equestrian pillars were helping Starswell to even making they disappeared. And even the signs of the sign was slightly different from the movie itself, but still, they were great to see them back. At least they give us some information how they even disappear and why, and even some part of background story from that. And even to see, after seeing the pillars really realized that they were wrong about Stygian, was actually brave. And they then decided to save him, and Pond of Shadows returned to Limbo for evil forever. Since they actually saved Stygian from the Pond of Shadows without sacrificed the element of harmony, they didn't lose the magic from it, which they were planned to do, to use it to banish this Pond of Shadows. We know now, since they didn't do it, they still have the power in the elements. And we haven't seen the elements of harmony since I think it was in episode Twilight's Kingdom, when they saved. No? I think it was during the battle against Terek. But I don't really remember exactly if it was during Terek or Twilight's Kingdom's episode. I had to remember that part, but I think it was sometimes between those two episodes last time they even used just the elements of harmony. Of all I can say about this episode, I think this was really good, and I can honestly say this final episode of season 7 was actually the best so far of all previous seasons. I think Shadow Play is the absolute best episode in 7th season. I will give Shadow Play A+, because it was incredibly excited, even if it was the 2 parts. I still think it's a really good episode and was really worth watching, and even to see all those old pillars back in the episode, and even to see Starsworld as his own character, since we only before this episode he has only been mentioned, even from stories, books, about his magic, but never seen or heard in person. And I'm really looking forward to see more episodes with either Starsworld, with the Pillars, and even Stitchen in the season 8 or forward, since they had been gone for 1,000 years. So they would be happy to see if they could somehow start to learn more about this over the last millennia they have been gone. Especially when Mage Meadowbrook would meet her descendant Cattail at her own home. It would be something interesting episode to see. But yeah, I would even like to see when Starsworld and the other pillars trying to adjust to their new life in the modern Equestria, since they have been gone for 1,000 years. But it wouldn't be a surprise if Twilight went up asking Starsworld for some more advice, or even, well, magical ideas for any reason. So, yeah. So, that would like what to say. Write down in this comment section below. Tell me what you think about this episode. And subscribe, leave a comment, and as always, this is Swedish Diablo over and out.